To help us understand what his kingdom is like, Jesus told us this story. There was once a king who prepared a wedding feast for his son. He sent servants to invite guests to the wedding feast, guests from throughout his kingdom. But when the king's servants arrived with the invitations, the guests refused to come. They rejected the invitation. The king sent more servants. "Tell those who have been invited," he said, "that I have prepared a dinner. There's going to be a feast, and everything is ready. Please come to the wedding party. Please come to the wedding feast." But the people who had been invited paid no attention. They just didn't listen. One even went off to his field to work. Another went to his business. And even worse, some of the guests took the king's servants, treated them badly, and beat them. When the king heard what had happened, he was incredibly cross. He sent his army and destroyed the city of the guests who rejected his invitation. But now the king had a problem. He said to his servants, "The wedding feast is ready, but those that I invited didn't come. They didn't deserve to come. They rejected my invitation." So this is how the king responded. He said to his servants, "Go now to the street corners and invite to this feast anybody you can find." So out went the servants into the streets, and they gathered all the people they could find, the good and the bad, and invited them to the wedding feast. The wedding hall was completely filled with guests. The king noticed one of his guests was not wearing wedding clothes. He asked, "How did you get in here without wedding clothes?" The man was speechless. Then the king told his attendants to take the man and throw him out into the darkness. Jesus finished his story by saying that many are invited, but few are chosen. Now you see, in the story, the wedding feast represents heaven. The king represents God, and we are all invited to join God in heaven for the feast, for the party. Each of us has the option to accept God's invitation or reject God's invitation. There are two responses for us. The invite is there. God makes the invite to us in his word, the Bible. And he tells us that if we accept the invitation, then we will be brought in to heaven. We will be brought into this feast. The feast represents heaven. All we have to do is accept the invitation. However, if we reject the invitation, what happened in the story to the people who rejected the invitation? Well, the answer is that they were destroyed. And there are consequences for us if we reject God's invitation. The party in heaven will be the best ever. The wise decision for us, the only sensible decision for us to make, is to accept the invitation. The question is, will we? Will we reject God's invitation and be destroyed? Or will we accept God's invitation and be brought into heaven?